In this video, I'll talk about atmospheric perspective, its characteristics, the color and value changes, and I'll show you some surprising findings that you probably don't know. And it's in my book, The Art Instruction Course, Color and Light, which is only $7 on Amazon. Atmospheric perspective is the interaction of light with particles in the air. You have to have both because the particles scatter the blue light, which has the shortest wavelengths. So everything is covered with a blue veil. Look at this area in the distance compared to the area in front. There are few value contrasts. The saturation is dull here and bright here. There are no details or texture in the distance. The edges are soft. There's no yellow, orange, green, or red, and everything approaches a middle to light blue-gray. Atmospheric perspective requires the interaction of light and air. In this first picture, the opening in the clouds causes this bright sunlight to light up this colorful mountain. But look at the shaded mountains both in the back and nearby that don't receive any light. So there isn't any atmospheric perspective. And as a result, these colors and values look the same as the ones in the foreground. And that flattens the image, makes this distant mountain look much closer than it really is. Now, we also see atmospheric perspective with sunbeams, so it doesn't just happen with distance. Sunbeams whiten, desaturate, and blur details from the background, whereas the darker areas running between the sunbeams aren't hit by as much light, so the trees look more colorful with sharper edges. Let's see how colors change with atmospheric perspective. In the foreground, there's little air between the viewer and the foreground, so we see all colors. Yellow is present, so the green may have some yellow-green, while red may have some orange in it. But limit the blues and violets in your foreground. In the midground, we no longer see yellow or orange, so warm browns, which have orange in it, are also lost. And instead, colors acquire some blue, so the red becomes red-violet, and the green becomes blue-green. Now, in the distance, we lose the red and green, and colors become blue or violet, approaching a medium light blue-gray. And it's very important that you have both a reduced value range as well as a reduced color range. This is what some people call reverse atmospheric perspective. In other words, it occurs during sunrises and sunsets when the air is flooded with warm orange light instead of the usual blue sky. And in this scenario, the furthest point on the horizon becomes a vibrant yellow or orange, revealing the color of the sun, and the objects close to the viewer are darker and cooler, maybe with some blues and violets because they're shielded from the sun. So the reverse part of this is that the colors are different than we normally see during the day, but it's still atmospheric perspective where particles scatter light. So we get less detail and texture, softer edges, and less value and color contrasts as we go into the distance. In other words, we still have atmospheric perspective. Let's look at some examples of colors and see if they follow atmospheric perspective. So we expect warm colors like yellow, red, and green in the foreground. And in the midground, we lose yellow and red, so we have greens, red violets, and blue-greens. In the background, we see mainly blues and violets. So the colors go from the long wavelengths to the short wavelengths. In this first picture, we have light blue and violet for the background. So these mountains look very far away. There are reds and greens in the foreground and red and green and yellow in the midground. So in terms of colors, there aren't much difference between the foreground and the midground. But there are other ways to show depth. So this artist juxtaposes red and green in the foreground, giving it a very strong complementary contrast that pulls that area forward. And the flowers start very large and they get much smaller with distance, so that also shows depth. Now, in the second picture, the colors and the values in the foreground and the background are almost the same, so this picture looks very flat. Please remember to subscribe and check out my book, The Art Instruction Course, Color and Light. I'll leave a link to the book at the bottom of the video.